A beautiful morning to you and welcome to the newspaper review right here at Prime Media TV. I am Ayo, bringing you the newspaper review for today. And as always, I have some headlines to be reviewed with you today. And the first one says, "We will regulate price of imported foodstuff," says the federal government. So we are going to look at how they intend to regulate this price. But very quickly, let's look at the story. The federal government has said food items to be imported into the country in the next 150 days will be subjected to recommended retail price to bring down the high cost of food in Nigeria. So this came on a day the lawmaker representing Borno South Senatorial District, Senator Ali Ndume, alleged that the food crisis in the country was further worsened by the fact that President Bola Tinubu was not accessible to be advised by lawmakers and even cabinets. So the what we are looking at today is how the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's led administration the prices of some of these commodities. But then the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, has mentioned, he was one who highlighted the ways in which they intend to regulate the prices of these commodities. But then very quickly, let's look at some of the commodities that they intend to regulate their prices. The commodities include maize, oxed brown rice, wheat, and cowpeas. The first thing that comes into mind is that some of these things that they intend to even import in the country in the first place, they are not things that we should be importing. They are things that we should have in the country. And what comes to mind again is that when our borders were closed, we had thought the intention was to ensure that they strengthen local production of some of these grains, which include rice, Nigerian made rice, and all of that. So what this is showing to us right now is that for the federal government to have intent to import some of these things, it is a proof that they did not in any way work on how to strengthen local production of some of these grains. Because if they had worked on those things by now, all of these things that is highlighted are not things that we should even be thinking about importing. And as beautiful as their plans is, Nigerians are asking questions. And another thing to look at is that the Tinubu-led administration wants to control prices of maize, prices of rice, wheat, and beans in the market. Now, they should remember that the market is not a personal farm. The market is not their personal belonging that they can decide the amount that they want to sell these things. And another thing to look at is that on the long run, when they manage to whatever measures that they want to put in place to ensure that the prices of these things are regulated in the market, another thing we should consider is that this is further going to lead to people engaging in all sort of means to extort Nigerians. And we remember what happened in Lagos, where the custom officers collected some illegal rice that they were intending to take out of Nigeria, out of Lagos. They hijacked those goods and they intend to sell them out to Nigerians at 10,000 naira per 25 kg bag. And we saw the stampede in Lagos. About 7 persons died in that stampede. So how do they intend for this rice or for these grains to get to the people who truly need them? That's another question to look at. But another thing that they said is that these imported commodities will be subjected to a recommended retail pricing. And what we are seeing here is that the government's attempt to control prices of imported food commodities is just an attempt to manipulate the market. They just want to manipulate the market. How exactly do they intend to do this? They are going to further put fear in the heart of Nigerians that this is just something that will be available for a limited number of days. Since they said these goods there will be imports free taxes on these goods only for 150 days. It is going to create fear in the heart of Nigerians, and they would want to get these things at all costs. Before you know it, the stampede we experienced in Lagos months back is going to repeat itself because we see that Nigerians are in need of all of these grains that they mentioned. Now the question is, do they intend to reduce the population of Nigerians? Can they handle it? If on the long run Nigerians go to, they go to this place that they intend to sell out this product, and this, just because they want to get it as much as possible. We know how we take advantage of things in the country, and we want to get as many bags as possible so that we can stock up our house, something that will even last us for more than the duration that the federal government is giving. Now, how do they intend to control the number of crowds that will be present at these places where they intend to sell out this thing? This is another thing. Nigerians are not only hungry, we are hungry, but it is the duty of the federal government to put measures in place to ensure that even in the process of buying all of these products, Nigerians do not hurt themselves in the process. So the federal government said they will import 250 metric tons of wheat and 250,000 metric tons of maize. And these semi-processed commodities will be supplied to small-scale processors and milers across the country. This was what the Abubakar Kyari, the Minister for Agriculture, had said. And what we are saying here is that instead of the federal government to develop our own agricultural sector, the government is resorting to import, which will only benefit foreign farmers and perpetuate our reliance on foreign food supplies. Now, on the long run, they said they just want to use this to cushion the effect of hunger on Nigerians. Now, what are the measures that they are putting in place to ensure that even our local farmers are producing, they are doing the needful? Food production is on the increase in the country, even while they are importing these goods. So we see that what the Nigerian government are going back to their vomit. The intention for closing down the border in the first place was to strengthen local production. So because they have failed in strengthening local production now, they are resolving to strengthening foreign farmers. Foreign farmers would be extremely happy now because they were proactive enough to foresee what is happening in Nigeria, and they know that a time like this will come. So it will be easy for them to import their products. And another thing is that who is losing on the long run? By the time they are not paying taxes on this importation. Yes, it is to the good of Nigerians, but the national treasury is losing. But we should also note that while the country should not lose at both ends. Yes, there is free importation on all of this produce, but what are the measures they are putting in place to ensure that local farmers are still working even at the time that these foreign farmers are bringing in they are bringing in their produce into the country? So if the local farmers are not being strengthened, that means the federal government is working arms and legs to ensure that foreign farmers are doing the needful to feed the nation. Then on the long run, local farmers will see that since the federal government is not looking at how they can strengthen local production, they would go into exile. They will be redundant. They see that they are not needed. And before you know it, Nigerians will come back to relying on food importation. So, according to the the Minister of Agriculture, Abubakar Kyari, he said there will also be engagements with relevant stakeholders to set a GMP and purchase surplus food commodities to restock the National Strategic Food Reserve, ramp up production for the 2024 to 2025 famine cycle. So what we are seeing the federal government doing here is that the government promised to engage with stakeholders to get a guaranteed minimum price for farmers, and this is long overdue. This is not the first time that they will be making their plans to in relation to what we are having now. But we remain skeptical at the government's ability to stay committed to fair pricing that will benefit the farmers and not only the middleman, because we see that those who will be benefiting here are just the stakeholders involved here, are just the middlemen, not the local producers. Or is it this regulation of prices that they are talking about? Is it going to help the local farmers? It is not the local farmers that will sell these things. Definitely, the people to sell these things are the retailers. They are the ones to benefit from all of this measure. Let's assume what the federal government is attempting to do is to subsidize these goods for them. They pay a part for Nigerians. Good plan, beautiful plan. But the fact remains that it is only the middlemen that will be benefiting from this. It will not pay off. It will not be beneficial to the local producers. And he further said that continuous support to smallholder farmers during the ongoing wet season farming through existing government initiative, and they would work on strengthening and accelerating dry season farming nationwide. And we see that over time, what the Nigerian government is doing is to make promises. And also, we are going to look at how they are going to be committed to all of these things that they have said. So, like we have rightly stated here, 150 days importation free on this thing is a beautiful thing. But what exactly will they put in place to ensure that local farmers will continue production at this time? Now, this is the clause. This is where we are going to take a pause on this conversation. Let's see what the federal government has to do on all that we have stated out. So we'll be going on a quick break. As soon as we get back, we'll dive into another conversation. Please stay with us.